In 1966, 9-year-old Jane Beaumont, her sister Arna, and their 4-year-old brother Grant boarded a 10-minute bus to Glenelg Beach in Adelaide, Australia, and never came home for lunch, with the walking track back from the shore searched inch by inch and turning up nothing. No shoes, no towels, no struggle, just 3 children who were seen leaving the beach and then were never seen again. And that is the problem. It was Australia Day, January 26th. The Beaumont family lived 4 blocks from the coast, in a neighborhood where children walked themselves to school and back. Nancy Beaumont had let her children take that same bus alone before. She gave Jane the fare, a little extra for lunch and ice cream, and told them to be home by noon. Jim Beaumont, their father, was at work. It was a routine so ordinary that Nancy didn't think twice about it. She had every reason to expect them walking through the door before the day got hot. The 9:40 bus dropped them at Glenelg around 10. Witnesses later placed them swimming near Wyatt's kiosk, buying a meat pie and pasties for lunch with money Jane didn't have when she left the house. Someone had given it to her. Noon came. The children missed the bus home. At 12:30, a woman near a public phone box reported a call to the Beaumont house, a girl's voice asking permission to stay longer to swim one more time. Nancy said yes. The 2 o'clock bus came and went without them. The last confirmed sighting was just after 3. The 3 children walking away from the beach, north along Jetty Road, alongside a tall, thin man with light blonde hair, tanned, in his early 30s. Then nothing. No 4th sighting. No 5th. The trail simply stops at 3 o'clock on a beach crowded with holiday families. Nancy called police that night when the children still hadn't come home. What followed was the largest search in South Australian history. Mounted police, army units, low-flying aircraft, volunteers combing the dunes for weeks. Divers searched the jetty pylons and the shallows. They found nothing. Not a shoe, not a scrap of the yellow and blue swimsuits the girls had worn, not a single confirmed trace on a beach that had held hundreds of witnesses that afternoon. A crowd that size should not be able to swallow 3 children without one more person seeing where they went. Remember, the running car doesn't apply here. Remember instead the beach that stops being a witness the moment it matters most. The leading theory was simple. A stranger, likely local, someone who knew how to make 3 children comfortable enough to walk away from a public beach without resistance. Investigators believed he'd approached them earlier in the day, bought their trust with small kindnesses, and used it to lead them somewhere quiet. For decades, police worked from composite sketches of that blonde man, chasing hundreds of tips that led nowhere solid. Then, in 2013, that theory ran into a wall. A tip from a psychic and decades of circumstantial suspicion pointed at Harry Phipps, a wealthy Glenelg businessman who matched the description, and whose factory sat barely 300 meters from the Beaumont home. His own son claimed his father had confessed on his deathbed to killing the children and burying them under the factory floor. Police excavated the site for 11 days with heavy machinery, cameras rolling. The public certain this was finally it. They found nothing, no remains, no clothing, no confirmation the ground had ever been disturbed for that purpose. Phipps had died years earlier and could never be questioned. The alibi his family gave for that afternoon was never fully broken. The prime suspect the case had rested on for a decade produced an empty hole in the ground, and investigators were back to nothing. What makes the Beaumont case genuinely unexplainable isn't the missing bodies. It's a brown paper parcel found days later in the roof space of a building near the beach, containing folded children's clothing tied with a distinctive reef knot. The same knot Jane had reportedly been taught at school that week. Police at the time lacked the forensic tools to test it properly, and the parcel was later lost from evidence entirely, decades before DNA testing existed to tell anyone what it meant. The case remains open with South Australia's Cold Case Unit. Modern DNA testing has been applied to old evidence, tips still arrive, and searches have resumed at other sites over the years. No remains have ever been recovered. If 3 children can vanish from a crowded beach in broad daylight and leave behind nothing but a knot tied in a piece of paper, what exactly did that beach actually see?